get started.
So, hello, film family. We have got a superstar, a legend, an experienced woman who I've had the privilege of working. I think it's only 1 or 2 jobs max in the commercials because, you know, more than not, it's just dominating the world of features and all those high end stuff that I'll never have the chance to get on. But she said yes to a chat. I'm going to take it. Thank you so much for coming on, legend. So without more talking from me, what is your name and what is your role on the call sheet?
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh.
You gotta give the intro to the people that need an intro.
Funny. It's like, what? Hi, everybody. My name's Spob O'Brien, and I'm a key hair and makeup supervisor, mainly working in film and TV. But nice. I do commercials in between.
And what does that role mean to you?
It's a big grown-up job now. So anyway, the key hair and makeup supervisor, you're called key because you look after everything and all the actors that are actually on the main truck. So it's all the top talent. I'm there to facilitate the designer. So the designer and I, on the job that we've just been doing, I'm on a massive, huge and almost episodic TV drama.
Of course you are. Does it get any bigger?
And the designer and I work hand in hand with each other, but to actually take away all the housework stuff or admin stuff, that's what I do. So I take that all away from her. Okay. So we'll do the fitting. So for example, actor comes in, we start the fitting, we measure for the wigs. I've already been on the phone to the wig suppliers, the wig maker, the facials, the teeth, you name it, whatever they've got to have, the prosthetic people. So I'm that centre point that will facilitate everything that comes out, the design look from the designer. Okay. And then I have a coordinator underneath me who then does all the ordering. So it's
quite logistical.
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
For a department that's spreadsheets and documents and PDFs. It's like you kind of think, you know, hair, makeup, styling, and you just think creative, brushes, things, face, people, contact, create, you know. But actually, behind all of that, there needs to be that logistical brain. Now, did you know about that role when you first started, or did you just start off going, I want to be a hair and makeup stylist?
Well, this role has only come about, I'd probably say, since, because it was a crowd supervisor. That's how it tended to come about. In smaller TVs, you had a supervisor, which meant that you were the grown-up on the bus.
Oh. The one that if people were smoking, they'd be like, oh, she's coming quick, you know, throw it out. No, I wasn't smoking, Mum, sorry.
Or told you when you did your overtime and stuff like that. This role, as the jobs have got bigger, you have more people to look after, more actors to look after. So as jobs have just got bigger, so like everything to do with that's all on the streaming channels, all their jobs are huge. Yeah. Like huge.
Massive A-listers as well.
Yeah, and it's like all the big films, you know, you will have on films, you can be in 4 separate locations and you've got to manage that as well as making sure that the creative look is seen and done and it's on the right documents and it's gone to all the right people and it's been signed off left, right and centre and your designer is going to all the correct meetings and it's, you know, it's down to the smallest moustache that needs making and, you know, they decided the night before they wanted a moustache making and you've got to get somebody to work overnight and have it delivered the following morning.
Wow.
So,
loving it? Suits you? You like it?
I love it.
Yeah. Let's talk about
the reason
that.
I love it. Yeah, the reason I love it, I mean, I get to be in the beginning creative part, which is fantastic. So you're there literally with the design and they're usually bouncing things off you because you've got to have a sounding board.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the years of experience I've had, I can go, oh, what about this? Or how about that? And I go, oh yeah, maybe we'll try. And then, you know, you usually have 2 assistants with you helping at the same time and they're running off going and getting extra wigs, facial, you name it. And so you're part of that beginning process, but then you take it away and then you have to go back to your budget and make sure that that character has enough money on their budget line. And how many times will you have to repeat that? Yeah. And the scene that comes in, you know, 2 episodes down where they lose their ear or they suddenly become a different person because they walk through a time zone, or these umpteen things that we have in scripts that you have to plot in and make sure there's enough money in the budget line.
Yeah.
And things change all the time, as we know, with scripts changing, and then you suddenly have to go back and go, oh, Christ, no, I need to move the budget around a bit. I need to put a bit of money from here to there. But you're also looking at the budget line for continuity. So have I bought multiples enough of this?
Do I need resets for the time that, they get shot and the head blows up?
Yeah. So you're constantly trying to be 20 steps ahead of everything.
Nice.
As one of the designers I'm working for at the moment, she says it's like watching a scene from The Matrix, because she sees me when I ask her a question.
Slow-mo.
It's like, it's like all the screens coming up. Like, where are they? And it's just like, she says, she'll ask me a question, and she says, you sort of stare in midair, and I know you're looking at one of your multiple screens inside your head. So I have this really organised brain that lives in like a really weird spreadsheet world. And I have to balance the budget, the team, the creative look, and then keep the whole machine running. So all the changes that are always coming through, whether it's script, schedule, goodness me, it can be cast change, it can be anything.
Yeah.
I've got to be at the forefront of it. But I cannot do it on this particular job. I cannot do it without my coordinator. And the coordinator I've got, it's the first time she's ever done this. So I'm training her up in the job.
Wow.
That's a new position that's come in. Because I physically couldn't do every single order. No. Our purchase order books are huge.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do that. So
what have you done? Kind of grab someone from the world of production? You got like a PA in, or is it someone that knows about makeup that has to do it?
No, what I wanted somebody that knew production really well. They had to come out of the production office.
Yeah.
I didn't need another creative. I've got enough of those I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So I needed somebody really organised, a little bit OCD, OCD.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be.
And would understand my methods and would come into my room, and my room just looks like, it's logistics centre. It's the brain.
I can picture it, and there's like all the scripts and stuff on, and then there's lines going to this, like that thing in Beautiful Mind, and he's just trying to figure it all out.
Oh, I love all that. But it's all got to be really colourful as well. So like every post-it means a certain colour, where it's gone, who's coming in. The designer loves coming into my office, and then she'll lift post-its up and down and then moves them around. I go, what are you doing? She says, no, we're moving that, but that's going over here and that's going to happen here. And then I have to go into her room to look at her huge chart, which is like the big creative. And I go, okay, because she might have read pages that I haven't had a chance to read yet.
Yeah.
So we're constantly having to do that with each other. We are literally running alongside each other. It's great.
Do you ever get to be on set when you're in that role?
Yeah, so also in our role as well, we go first thing in the morning, as always, crack off.
Yeah.
So alarms going off at 3 and 4 in the morning. You know what that's
I know what it's like. Are you going to see my COVID alarm in the minute has been 6, and I'm setting it now for 5, just in case.
Really?
I start coming up. Yeah. I'm doing loads of stuff in the morning. I'm smashing, I'm just getting probably 4 hours of stuff that I would normally do during the day with kids and things and lunch. I'm just getting all of that done in the morning. Amazing.
Oh no, so I'm sleeping in. I'm getting up at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it's like, I love the fact that I can lie in bed and go, what should I do today?
It's nice. I bet that must be a change, because
it's fantastic. But like I always say to the team, when we've got really busy weeks at work, and our schedule, when you look at it and you just look at that week and you go, you don't know how you're going to get to the end of it. And you know that there's going to be added overtime because you've got to set 3 wigs at the end of the day, which need to be used the following morning straight away, or have you lined up all the pro bondos to make sure the scars and everything will be ready for the next day. It's just all about, it's going to be a really difficult week. And I always say to the team, look at your overtime and you bank your overtime off to one side.
Yeah.
that will be your time off. Work it out in the hours. When you finish this job,
Nice.
you'll be able to have a month, maybe 2 months off, and you're being paid for it. I said, think of it in that way.
Yeah,
and then they look at their overtime and their difficult hours in a whole different way, because you because our job is really hard in our department, and we can be 14, 16-hour days. And so you have to actually have a different mindset. You have to go, it's endurance. You can get through it. You will get to the end of the week. You will sleep.
Because you're there, it's pre-calls. And as you said, it's, seconds and wardrobe makeup, and it's like you're there a couple of, if minimum, at least 2 hours before the rest of the crew, and then you got to then sort of get yourself sorted for the next day. And that's a really interesting way of looking at your overtime. So it's not just, there's another, there's another pair of this, there's another brand new watch, and there's a this, that, and the other. It's like, actually, no, that's my time off. Yeah, I like that.
It's really, really important to work out your time off after these jobs. It's really important not to jump from one massive job to another. You've got to decompress. You've got to allow your body to relax, and you've got to allow your brain to switch off. Because you've been running at 100 miles an hour. And most film, TV, hair and makeup departments, I reckon you could put them out in the front line anywhere. They could do anything. But honestly, I mean, I know everybody, and like people probably listening to this go, but it's makeup, it's the glam squad, it's all of that. Yeah, we might play along with that, but come down to it, we can switch up really quickly. Like, what it's like on commercial sisters, like suddenly they can go to you, can you be bald now? And you've got a man with a full head of hair and a full beard, and you're going, I need 45 minutes, is that okay? And then you're upstairs, and all of a sudden you're all there. I know it sounds like bald, that you just shave everything off, but you might just have to put a bald cap on him. Not just shave his hair off, because he needs that for the next day shooting. So you're always constantly juggling around with the next part. And in this, on this particular job that I'm doing it, or was doing, as soon as we got everybody ready in the morning, that was the whole team. Everybody made 2 makeup trailers, and every 45 minutes to an hour there was another actor in your chair. So complete massive looks, wigs, prosthetics, just makeup, blood, you name it. It was everything you could possibly think of thrown at you every morning.
And it's so much concentration. Like, you kind of say, people think it's glam squad and all the rest of it. It's like, there are days that I'm seconding, and I can't let the team, like, it's just impossible for me to kind of let them have breakfast and let them do stuff. And they're like, there's beads of, they're just like having to concentrate that hard for 2-3 hours. It's exhausting. I don't know. I just kind of put people in a chair. I'm like, there you go. Who else? But it's. And I guess, is that where you started? Did you were you always in features? Was it always makeup, or were you running, or what's your story in?
Oh, my story in way back in the folds of time. I wanted to be a physiotherapist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had this real thing when I was at school. I loved art. I was really artistic. But I was mad on science. And I went to a bonkers Catholic school where they didn't let girls do science. So it made me more determined.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course
It was like, you say I can't.
Thanks very much, Father.
And I got myself into the science classes.
Amazing.
But I loved it. So anyway, the only way to do that from where I came from, because I grew up in Ramsgate down in Kent, and to be a physiotherapist was just like, that was a beyond. That was, my parents didn't know what that was all about. What?
Therapist? What, you want to talk to people?
I don't even think that was around then. And so I went to a hair and beauty college, and it was a really tough course to get in on. But it was this course where you did art and science alongside each other.
Oh, nice.
So I know people go, oh yes, you went to beauty college. We learned cosmetic science.
Yeah. So
I learned how to make all the products that we use today.
Wow.
Yeah. We had to do photography. If you fail photography, it's like all these extra parts on it. You did wig making in it. You did body therapy in it. You learned how to be a personal trainer.
Wow.
You learned nutrition. You learned how to be a florist. You learned how to be a hairdresser, barber, beauty therapy, you name it. But you took all these exams as you went along over the 3 years. And if you failed, you got kicked out. And that was the level you were allowed to work at.
Hardcore.
It was proper hardcore. There was only 16 of us at the end of the 3-year course.
How many did it start with?
Well, there were 3 classes of, I think, about 20 or 30 each. Yeah, but everybody was quite happy to leave. You know, they went, no, this is what I want. That's why I'm going off. And they had those qualifications to go off it. Yeah. But in the final year, there was this, they used to bring in all these, you know, people from industry to come and talk to you. And there was this guy come in called Ron Freeman. Now, he ran the Royal Opera House hair and makeup department. I knew nothing about opera. And I knew, as a kid from Kent, I knew nothing. Yeah. I knew about beach parties. Wanted to be a physiotherapist. That's all I was looking at. Anyway, I was sat and he was doing his talk about it. And he was so funny. And then there was this moment, I don't know what he said to me, but it literally was like, bing, I want to do that. What's that? Nice. So I asked him, could I go and visit him? So a few weeks later, I popped up to London, went to the Royal Opera House, went into that hair and makeup department, and that was it. I was sold. He opened a drawer, and there was I don't know if you ever had them at school, the big art drawers. You used to have the big sheets of paper. Yeah. Well, they used to, and I don't know if they still do, but they had all their swatches of hair lined up. So you open the blonde drawer, you open the red drawer, you open the dark brown drawer. It's just like bundles of hair in there. And there was somebody having their hair bleached, there was somebody making something, and then he took me into the makeup room, which was the principal's makeup room. Still to this day, that makeup room to me is like
the holy grail. You get nervous.
It was all white and shiny, and like it was just like going, oh my god, what do you do here? You paint people. So that was just the moment, and I said, how do I do this? And he said, you have to get this paper called The Stage, and you have to buy it every week, and you read it from front to back. The jobs are in the back, and you apply for the jobs. So I went, okay. So in the meantime, I got myself a job in a toupée salon at the side of Victoria Station.
Oh, what, for like a little syrup? Just good, nice.
It was called Hair Forever.
Until it blows off.
Until it blows off. So we used to I did that for 6 months, and for 6 months I read The Stage. So I got.
But weirdly, that feels like if you're going to do any kind of work experience, you know, actually working in a toupée, it makes sense. You know, it's not like, oh, I did 2 weeks, you know, working in an accountant's filing papers. You're like, no, I was with people's heads. Yeah. I learned how to. Did you do that specifically, or is it just something that just fell into your lap?
Yeah, because I remember asking at college, because at college I was the one that set up my own hairdressing round, because I actually worked out that everybody that came into our college during term time to have their hair or their makeup done, like nails, anything, I worked out that when we were on holiday, they didn't get their hair and nails done. They'd have to go to bog standard. So I set up a little business.
Of course you did. There you go.
And I handed out these little written notes to all these women going, if you'd like to just give me a ring. My mum and myself taking appointments on the phone at home. And I was allowed to drive her car as long as I took her to work in the morning and picked her up at the end of the day.
Brilliant.
But I literally just went round doing old ladies' hairdos. And if once they were all in their rollers, I would say, can I practice doing a makeup, or can I practice doing nails, or can I practice doing a pedicure on you? So I kept my skills up during, when we went at college. So I asked them at college, and they said, well, you really need to get something in the beauty trade. And I looked at all the beauty trade papers, and I went up South Molton Street and all around there. And it was too, I don't know how to put it. It was too straight for me. I wanted a weird job.
Yeah. I wanted to put wigs on bald people, and I wanted to just paint old ladies. It's great. Love it.
this fantastic tutor I had at college, and she said, look, if you want to really go and be a physiotherapist, you're going to have to go back to uni. You're going to have to do 7 years of training.
Wow.
She said, go and have a year off.
Yeah.
And I think I'm 34 years now having that year off. So,
best year off your life. Yeah.
I saw that. I don't know where I saw this job. I probably saw it in the back of Hairdresser's Journal or something. Anyway, I got this job at the toupée salon, did it for 6 months, read the stage back to front every week. And then this job came up and I applied for it. And it was for Glyndebourne Opera to be their training. Well, it's to be their junior, it used to be called then.
Yeah.
And so I just went down to this glorious place. I knew nothing about it. Never heard an opera in my life.
Did you blag it? Oh, no, yes, I love the...
No, didn't at all. I just went, never seen an opera, don't know what they are.
Good on you.
I just did, look, this is where I'm from. I was just totally honest.
Honest, yeah, amazing.
I got the job.
Come on!
And you lived on site.
Nice.
So we lived.
Did you tell them what you'd been doing and the side hustle and the doing and the toupée?
Oh yeah,
because so that kind of stuff. I'm like,
a little story of Spob.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have much to put on my CV then, so I just had to write the story. So I used to do this, so I used to do that, and I think she was mainly looking for somebody who would mix in with the team. And the only thing they did say to me that when I got the job, the first day I was working, they said, do you go by any other name? And because my real name is Sharon.
Yeah.
So I said, well, my mates call me Spob because it's short for Sharon Paula O'Brien, and it stuck. And they all called me Spob. That was it. So
you're
that's
in.
Where it came
well, you became one of the team instantaneously. Bonk. Here's Spob.
Yeah. And honestly, I found my home there. So they had parties for for a drop of a hat at Glyndebourne. George and Mary Christie, who owned it, beautiful, gorgeous people. Their sons now run Glyndebourne. Real family place. It's a fantastic place for anyone to go and work. In our industry at all, if you can ever get to do a season at Glyndebourne, it's magical. It really is. It's in the Sussex Downs. It's just fantastic. And then that was on my CV, and I can't tell you, Barbie Burrows, who was my boss there, and she just went, go away, because I thought I was going to stay there forever. She went, go away, don't come back for at least 6 years. And I was gutted.
What?
I was just like, what?
How long had you been there when she said it?
I'd been there a season, which you started in the April and you finished in the September.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
did she do that to everyone, or just you specifically? She was like...
Well, she did it to... A lot of them were on... they came down just to do the contract for that time. And I think there was only 3 of them that were on full yearly contracts. Everybody else was on seasonal contracts. But she just went to me, no, you need to go. This will do it for you. Go. And she said, you can come back, but go and find your way. Because she didn't want me to be stuck there, which is brilliant. I mean, I say it to all my trainees, don't just stay one place, go and try as many jobs, everything. Doesn't matter if you're working on a checkout, doesn't matter where you do, you're always seeing different faces in front of you, which make your characters, and your characters will stay in your head forever. Every job you do will lead you on to something else. And you learn everything. You learn so much from every single job you do.
I'd love to just ask about that, because people that listen on the podcast, it's like, just the way that Spob just described that building up of characters, that's a really interesting concept that I never even thought about for that department. So is it something like, say if you were to work in a checkout and you're going through and then you see, a person, do you just bank that image and go, right, that is 75-year-old, white woman, pink hair, do you just start building up characters? And then when someone asks you, you go, oh, I do this to her nails, I do this to her lips, I do this to her hair.
Yeah, it's exactly that. But you can't help it. I mean,
do you get caught on the train and people are like, why is that woman staring at my face?
My daughters say it to me all the time, and they're 2 grown-ups. They go, Mum, stop it, you're looking. And I'm going, I'm not looking. They go,
you're banking her face again, Mum. You're face banking, just leave them alone.
It's really embarrassing. And sometimes I literally do want to go over to somebody and go, what? How have you? I mean, I love...
You just go, hi, I'm a makeup artist. I just want to tell you that eyeshadow is fantastic on your face.
And there's lots of times when I do have interaction with people, like if you're in a, buying something in a shop, I will actually tell them there's something I like about it, or go,
Nice.
that's a really great way of wearing that. Why did you think of that?
Mm.
And I want to know, but I want to know about the character, because I have to have discussions with actors all the time when they're building their characters.
Oh,
it's
amazing.
no use me just going, this is the image we have for you, this is what you're going to be. You have to have an open dialogue with them, because they know who this character is they're going to play, and you're there to facilitate that, as well as make sure that all the people have written it and helped producing it are happy with that look as well. But you have to formulate a conversation with your actor.
And I guess they do it all the time as well. You saying it now, I'm like, yeah, if I was an actor, I'd be doing the same, because if I need to play the cranky looking Spanish dude, I'd be looking at cranky looking Spanish dudes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really, so how does that conversation go? Do you it's in prep, they've just been cast, you sit them down and you just go, right, what do you picture?
Yes. That's the first, you're first fitting with them. You ask them about their character. How do they feel about their character? What do they see in their character? Usually by that time you've been given a bit of information from your director, because you've already sat down and had a meeting with your director about the creative side of it and what they're looking for in these characters. So you have to implement that as well, and plus you've had a conversation with the costume and been up and seen their designs, what they're doing. So it's a marriage of all of it together. But the first thing is like, so how do you feel about this character? Who do you see them as? And you need to have read their dialogue. You need to understand what that character is going through, where it's come from. So you have to have that whole background story on that character. And I learned that of years of, I used to be the head of hair and makeup at the West Yorkshire Playhouse. And when that opened as a brand new theatre, sort of like the National of the North, and we were a really young team that ran that. And we had 2 theatres, and both of them had like 16 shows a year each. But we used
Is that
to
a lot? 16
yeah.
That sounds a lot.
Because they got a run of 4 to 5 weeks as well, which you've got to repeat those as well. So you're overlapping all the time. So you'd always have like another ensemble of actors coming in.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky. I started right at the beginning. I said to them, this is how I'd like to be able to do it with this department. And I'd like to be able to just come in and sit in rehearsals and just watch. So I'd sit and watch, and then I'd get a feel for how the actors were physically taking on the characters. And then I would have the first chat with them. They'd come up to the makeup room, we'd sit there, and they'd just tell me what they were looking for, how they felt they needed something. And sometimes I'd send them away back to rehearsals with something. And then they'd come back and go...
Something like a tick or a physical something?
Physical something. So sometimes it could be, say for example, they decided they wanted a really big moustache for the first part because that character had just come back from war or whatever it was. And then when they get into the physical sense of doing the rehearsals again, that's not working, because there's a scene where I have to, the lady of the house comes in and I really have to kiss her, and I'm actually worried that that's going to interfere with us, and plus I don't want the moustache. I'm worried I'll be worrying, she'll be worrying. It's live theatre. Will the tash stay on? Will half of it come off? And you don't want to have that dialogue in your head.
Yeah.
So you accommodate them. That's what you do all the time. But yeah, that's where I learned the trick from. But I love chatting to people about their lives. I love it. I love nothing.
That's what I'm loving about this. I'm having a great time. I'm doing, as we spoke off phone, I'm doing like 2-3 a day.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing so many wonderful stories.
It's fantastic. Somebody told me once, they said everybody's got a story. And that's the thing, is you've just got to get that story out of that person. And then it opens up a huge conversation of so much. And then you can go back into somebody's personal life. There'll be something so small to them, but once you make that connection with them and that one story, it's fantastic.
I love it. What's been that one person that's inspired the most amount of characters? Has there been that one woman or man that you've gone, yeah, that's my kind of basis for something? I'm
trying to. You mean if one actor that is?
No, if just someone in the public. If you're like, all of a sudden you're like, there was this woman at a bus stop, and every time I think about her, she, you know, it's like every time I'm trying to cling to a character, that's my person that I go to.
No, because there's too many.
Okay.
Honestly, there's just
It's like you're running dry in lockdown. You're like, I need to get out.
Well, the street I live on them, I live here at the moment. The majority of them are over 70. So myself and like 4 other neighbours, we've been coordinating them all. We've got them all on WhatsApp. So I've got plenty of characters around here. But I can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh, I remember there was not so long ago where I did the film Ready Player One. Mm-hmm. Spielberg's film, and did a name drop then.
Hello, let me just pick that up for you. Sorry, Clanger.
And I remember I was going, because I'm always going on courses, and I was going off to do like another barbering course. And on the way there, this girl walked across the street, and I almost nearly tackled her to the ground, because her hair was just so freaking amazing. It looked like Kajagoogoo from the 80s. It looked like a dreadlock hippie from a festival. It was just this multitude of so many things that we were trying to put together when this film started, because Ready Player One was set in the near future, where a massive virus or something had happened, and the whole world had been locked down, and there were drones.
No, it doesn't sound realistic at all. No,
it doesn't sound realistic at all. Anyway, but there, so it was set in the near future, so you should recognise things, but equally, it had an element of the 80s. So you had to have that little twist of the 80s into it, but something had to look like it was something you'd never seen before. And this girl was that. So I asked her, could I stop her and take photographs of her? And I said, look, I'm not a weirdo. I showed her my Instagram page. I showed her as much as I possibly could. You know, like, I am a real person. You can look me up. Google me now on your phone. Yeah. Anyway, she let me take loads of photographs of her. And we used her as the basis of like the majority of the hair looks for loads of the crowd then.
Should have got her in. Get her in, be one of the cast, be an SA or something.
I did say to her, and she went, "No, I'm fine." No, like loads of people like go, "No, I'm all right." No,
but it's a film. You're like, "Yeah, I'm cool."
Yeah, I'm fine. I did stop another woman in Westfield about a month ago as well, about her look, and then she changed her hair. It was just fantastic, and I was saying, it was so weird because we were trying to figure out how to do this hairstyle on somebody. And this woman was just in front of me going up on the escalators coming out to Westfield. And again, I had to go and stop.
Yeah, of course you do.
And she...
Where's the film gods giving you the solution to the problem that you've been asking?
Cancer.
Oh, wow. Sorry, you stopped there. All I heard was cancer. You stopped her. What happened?
And I asked her about her hair, and then she just told me that she'd had cancer, and that's why she'd had to change the styling of her hair. It was fantastic. You'd never know. It was so brilliant. And I was like, I was gobsmacked. And she was thrilled to bits.
Amazing.
Absolutely thrilled to bits.
Look who I am. I work on massive films. I think you're fantastic. All of a sudden she's like, oh, wow, little pep in her step. Yeah. Amazing.
It was just, but there you are. You have a conversation with somebody, and then they just. We all have to communicate with each other. We all pretend we don't, and we all live with our noses in our phones. But 9 times out of 10, you stop and talk to somebody, they're going to tell you everything. It's great.
Love it. So then, tell us how you went from the theatre then to TV and film.
So my first dip into film was a film called Straight to Video.
Did it go straight to video?
It wasn't meant to. I don't know why it did. It was what's it called? Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the name of the film. You're saying the first. Oh, okay. Totally misunderstood.
That was the name of the film, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah, I thought you were saying it was straight to video. And I was like, what a great name for a film. Sorry. So Joseph. Yeah.
And
still quite a theatre background though, wasn't it?
Well, that was the whole reason. What they decided is that the guy who'd actually designed the whole show said, and he was designing it for the film. He said, I do not want loads of film people coming and doing this. There's a difference to this. This has to look theatrical as well. Because basically what they wanted to take the stage production, put it on a massive sound stage and film it. So you got more scope to be around. So you didn't have the proscenium arch of the theatre in the way and all of that. They wanted to get up and in and around and film it. So so my first job was Pinewood on the big 007 stage.
Love
and
it.
I was like, so exciting. And they had loads and loads of people from music videos doing it. So there was all this fancy camera work I'd never seen before. I'd never been on a sound stage. I didn't know anything about it. It's like the first time working in the opera. I had no idea about it.
Yeah.
But you learn really quickly. And then the people that I'd met there, basically they were people I used to work at, because I was on the first team of Phantom of the Opera when that first opened. And they'd all gone into film eventually, and then they just go, oh, let's get Spob in and get her to come and help us on this. So nice. it was always like people that you knew. But it was the part about that is I went away, I did that film, and I went away and I went back home going, oh, that was nice. And then because I was living up in Leeds, we were up there with our kids, bringing our kids up, and that's what we did. That's where we were working. And I got this phone call, and one of those friends from there, John Henry, he said, are you still living in Leeds, Bob? I went, yeah. And he said, oh, we're bringing a film up there. Can you come and help us? So I went, yeah. And one of my busy mates, Kim, and I, we were put in a room at the back of a town hall with loads and loads and loads of bits of hair, so much hair and stuff. And they said, we're doing a scene from a hairdressing competition. So we're going to send you in the extras, and we just want you to do as many outrageous and ridiculous hairdos as you want. And
amazing.
Makeup. I went, what? Are you
amazing?
So, we were chucking out everything. And the designer then, Jenny Sherkle, she came back to see us, and we didn't know who she was, but we were meant to know, but we didn't know who she was.
Yeah, whisper that bit. No one will hear you when you whisper it. Yeah, sensible.
And Jen came back to look at us, and all we heard her saying down the corridor, well, who's doing all of this? And we went, oh shit.
Oh,
and we just thought we were in such
trouble.
Big trouble. And then she came and she went, this is fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
And then that team invited us on to the rest of the job. And then Jen did her next film after that. She just asked me, would I be her supervisor? So I did this massive leap.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
From just coming in being a daily to jumping on to being a supervisor. But because at this point, I was a mum of two. I'd already run the West
multitasking. It's like,
Yeah, I'd had big jobs in theatre as well. I mean, when you can run a whole department in an opera house, you can run a crowd room, in film. I just needed to learn new terminology.
Yep. Easy enough.
I learned very quickly about budgeting. I learned very quickly about people's overtimes. There you're back, Cisco.
Hello. Yeah, the internet was a little bit weird there.
Yeah, it did. No, I learned so much on the job. I had to learn really quickly, and you learn to listen. That's what you learn. That's the biggest thing I could possibly
What are you
say.
listening to?
You're having to listen to all the other grown-ups. And you learn to listen, and you learn to digest all the information. You learn not to be reactionary to whatever they're saying. And you learn to answer back in a very calm voice. And you learn to say things like, I'm going to come back to you on that. I just need to check something.
Nice.
Because you need to have a moment to go, I need to go back and read the script, what happens there. Rather than doing it straight off the cuff and going, oh, we can do this, we can do it. No, you just actually literally have to take a moment and go, I'll come back to you. And then it means you can ask, they said this, right, are we all going to be able to do this? Have we got enough time? Will it be ready? So you're back in your workroom looking, going, can we physically do this? So I think that's where that came from, really, like understanding that when you move up, you have to take your time. You have to really listen, and you have to know your shizzle as well. You have to know everything. You have to know that schedule inside out. You have to know that script inside out. You need to know everything. Yeah.
So what would you, like, there's some brilliant advice there for that next gen coming up. What would you say to yourself if you now, at whatever point, would you have a little bit of advice for yourself?
I wouldn't change anything I'd ever done. I'd probably say I wish I'd done yoga from an early age and done it every single day. And that's just purely because the job's so grueling. And to keep yourself fit and healthy. But everything else, because you learn at every job something new, but you have to understand that it's not about you. Nothing's personal. It's not about you. Above you, there's the money. And the money is the one that's having to do all the thinking. And you have to help them facilitate that budget and make it work. So I just wouldn't change much. Do yoga, learn about budgeting.
Nice.
The thing is if you've got the creative bug in you, it's always going to be there. You're always going to be shown how to do something. Yeah. There's always somebody above you. You're always going to have that chance to be really creative as well. But in my role, I'm very lucky I get to do both. You keep cutting out. Are you all right? You keep going.
Yeah, fine. I'm hearing. So I tried to say as little as possible so that I can do my listening, and then all the little Zoom farts that happen, I just chop out. Yeah.
But I think it's also because I've done. So I worked in toupée, worked in opera. I toured around the UK with loads of tours. Went to the West Yorkshire Playhouse. Was there for 9 years, but worked in loads of other theatre companies up and down the country. Went into film, stepped out of film for a bit, went to TV dramas, just because I wanted to work on that fast-paced continuity, small team. And then I went and opened my own business with my mate, and we created big hair and makeup trailers that went into festivals, and we did that for 4 years. So we travelled around all the festival circuits for 4 years and got all our film mates to come and work on it.
Nice.
And we'd either sometimes be backstage, sometimes we'd be out front with the punters, which was hysterical, exhausting, and really hard running your own business. Really, really, really hard. Really, really tough. I take my hat off to anyone, because you think about it 24/7, 7 days a week. It is really tough. And then I would do odd bits of filming in between. And then after that, I got a job because of it. I got a job with a new company that was starting up as in a new makeup company, and it was a little British company, and they wanted to change the world of makeup, but they wanted to have it from all various different perspectives. And they found out about me, and they offered me like a fancy job, and I got head of professional development.
Oh, so hello. Does that even fit on a label? Does that even fit on a thing? That's like a double name tag, surely.
I know, it's hysterical. And so, I had to talk to board members and shareholders and do massive presentations to say what was going to happen next for the, what spring collection they were going to do. And plus then I had to train the teams to make sure that they knew everything about the professional world in the film sense and the TV sense. So it was quite a big job. But in between that, I used to do commercials.
Nice.
And that's where I met the lovely Bev Pon-Jones.
The Bev Pon-Jones and Wicked and Chris.
But I used to do that in between, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was like having bite-sized films. And that's what I loved about doing commercials. They were fast-paced, think on your feet, change anything at the drop of a hat. But it was you know, but again, because I'd come from the business world, I could understand, because I could understand it from the client's point of view.
Yeah.
I'd actually been the client as well before. So it's like, hang on, I know what that feels like. And I know the pressures that you have being the client from your bosses above that as well, because it's about how your product is presented. And then I gave all that up and went back into film again. So here I am back in film.
Loving it?
Loving it. I mean, what is it? I think I'm in 34 years of being a hair and makeup artist.
Gosh.
And people will say, do you enjoy your job? And I go, yeah, I think I do.
You've done so many, like, it's not that you've just done one thing for 30, you know, you've kind of tasted, and I guess, does that just keep your enthusiasm fresh?
Definitely. I'm not one for being like captured into a full-time job. And I think that's from, like I say, lovely Barbie Burrows from Glyndebourne, who was my first real.
Do you know, it'd be hilarious if you literally just gave her a call this week and gone, okay, I want to come back now. It's been, 20 years.
Yeah.
You're like, who is this? It's Spob. Spob who?
Yeah, it would be hysterical. But she's I think she's, I know she's left there now. She's running her own like private. You can go and train with Barbie Burrows.
Wow.
Oh my God. I mean, like,
what's the school called?
I don't even know. I think if you just Googled in Barbie Burrows teaching, hair and makeup, hair, she does mainly wigs, and it should just come up. But I think because I like moving around loads, I like change. I like all of that. But because that's like our job anyway, isn't it? Where it's constantly changing, isn't it? You've got to be ready to be able to go, oh no, we've dropped that, we're doing something else next. So I love it.
Even though you just spent an hour doing it, it's like, okay, start again. Well, look, I'm having such an amazing chat. I don't want to take it back. We've done 45 and I normally keep to that, but I don't want to cut you off if you've got things to do.
Wow.
But have you got, do you want to have the last question?
Yeah.
Have you got time for the last question?
Yeah.
Now, I kind of want to just straight up thank you for coming on and just giving us a sense, because a lot of people kind of think of a department and they don't think about all of the other things that go with it, the organization of where you can go and what you can do, and theatre and TV and film. And I just want to kind of give you a massive, massive thank you to opening up the eyes of people that don't really know much about what, they just think, oh, it's a bag of combs and you just go and, paint some faces. Like, no, it's a hell of a lot more. And every department has probably got that same thing that people just think that gripping is just doing this. So thank you for kind of opening up that world. And I'd like to give the last 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you want, of just a chance for you to say thank you, or to give a shout out to anyone or do anything like that.
Oh, there's so many people.
Here we go. It's like the Oscars.
Yeah, it is.
I should just.
That's the only award.
And the winner is.
Yeah, the only award this was years ago, right at the beginning. I'd love to have held up a BAFTA. That was back in the early days. I don't really feel like that anymore, because
you do. Don't worry, you'll win it.
No, because it's a whole team. That's the important bit.
Right.
Like I said to you when we were talking off camera, I am makeup mum to our department, and that's what I love that more than anything, in making sure that they were all right. I love getting the chickens at the beginning and just going and showing them how they can step out.
Eggs. They're just eggs when you get them. And you've got to keep them warm. And, oh, God.
Do you know what's fantastic is that they all become mates, and then they come back and they tell you, as my daughters say to you, we've got so many makeup other kids in the family here. And they go, oh, yeah, your makeup daughter. Oh, makeup son.
You talk about them more to friends. Like, your kids are like, you actually have some kids as well that you can spend some time with.
It's like, and both my girls are not, they don't want to do this at all. They haven't done it. They have gone into parts of the industry, but not done it. So shout outs. I would, first of all, Ron Freeman, who lit the light bulb, has to be. Take my hat off to that
amazing.
man.
Thank you.
He's, and that's why I love going around to colleges and I love doing things like this, because if I can inspire anybody to go off and work in our industry, thank you. I'd really like to be able to do that. Barbie Burrows, as I've already mentioned 3 times.
I love her already. I don't even know, but I love her.
I know, she's fantastic. John Henry and Jenny Sherkle, who gave me the opening doors to film. Can't thank them enough. My fab mate Bev Pond-James for commercials. I mean, her and Faye Hammond, they were the ones that pushed me into commercials and just kept going, come and help, come and do this. Rattling Stick for always being there and always employing me, but I've been employed by so many of the other production companies. And my busy mate Kim, Kim Freeland. She's the one that's been at my side every step of the way. We've done so many things. We were the 2 standing in that back room making those stupid hairdos. We were the ones that set up a company together that we went round touring all over the country with the festivals for 4 years. We've done all sorts of daft, stupid things together. And one person I'd really like to say a big thank you to, who meant a lot to me in our commercials industry, was Lucy Booth.
Nice.
Who's no longer with us, but
buy the book.
Yeah, we've both got the book.
We've both got the book. Go buy the book. The Life of Death.
Lucy, I was doing a commercial for, I think it was, it was Hovis. It was a massive Hovis one, and there was these big, huge shots. It was massive. I think Ringham was even directing it. I can't remember. Faye Hammond was designing. Faye went to me, come in and supervise this for me. Hundreds and hundreds of people to get out in period costume and hair. And Lucy Booth.
You got 20 minutes. Oh shit.
Yeah, Lucy was just basically, well, how are you going to do this? What are you going to do? Anyway, she was brilliant at it all. And she said the one thing that she said was the fact that I fought for everybody's price, making sure they all got paid properly. Nice. And she said, and the other thing is, she said, the funniest thing you said to me, she said, I was terrified of you because you were so organised and on it. And then just when I came in to check to see the last people going out, I turned around to Lucy and went, I've run out of hair. she said that just cracked me up. She said there was this woman I was like really quite scared of. That's what Lucy used to say. She said, I was really scared of you. You were scary, Spob. You were so on it, so organised, everything. Weren't taking anybody's shit. And then there you are, you turn around and just go, I've run out of hair.
It just humanised you.
Yeah, and it was, but she would always call me out. She, it didn't matter what, all sorts of things, but it was always a fun job if you had Lucy.
Yeah, rest in peace.
And Sally and all the gang. I mean, and I bumped into Howie not so long ago. And we had a
nice
chat about them. So it's just all the usual gang. The commercial gang are just a gorgeous, gorgeous family, and they've welcomed me with open arms. And they know I go off into the nutsoid film world, and they think I'm mad. But I just like it. I like doing a bit of that for a while. I'm dipping my toes in many different ponds.
Nice.
But if anybody, would like to ask more about it, and my world, or got any other questions, they can always find me on that dreadful thing Facebook, which I hate. Easy to find on LinkedIn.
Were you Spob O'Brien?
Yeah, Spob O'Brien. I'm really easy to find. Instagram, but I never answer anybody on Instagram.
Facebook and LinkedIn, top 2.
Yeah, they're the top 2 by me. Yeah, and I think it's in this weird time. Don't be worried about it. Don't be worried about all the investment you've put into it. It eventually comes. We all find our door. We all find our path in. I was Sharon from Kent. I had no idea that world existed out there.
The physiotherapist,
physiotherapist. And I'm now Spob that works on massive, great big movies and commercials all over the place. So,
booked up, what, 5 years in advance, 10 years in advance?
Yeah.
25 years.
It's, what? It's
got to get it quick if you want to.
You've got to get it quick. I just say to everybody, have a laugh, enjoy it. Please be nice to people along the way. That's the one thing. I was so lucky that I had so many gorgeous people that helped me along the way. And I think we just got to all do that for each other and just reach out. listen, I'm one of the elder ones. We're disappearing soon. The door's open. There's loads of room for you all to come in. And I always say to all the students I'm talking to, you've got to remember you're the future. I know we can be your mentors.
Yeah.
But you're going to be the next ones doing it. So you've got to think about what you want to see for your future. You've got to start manifesting it. Manifest it, man.
Oh, God, so much wisdom. I'm like,
this wisdom from
this wisdom. Oh, we can come up with.
It's just mum talk, isn't it? That's why I'm called Makeup Mum.
And look, Mum, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your chat and your story. Because, as I said to you before, I wanted this to be a place that, you know, there might be people that have known you 20 years that will just find something that, oh, I didn't know that she did this, and I didn't know that she did that. And then on top of that, the next Spob, who's 15, 16, 17, that's, you know, working at Mac or whatever, or working at a department store doing, starting off. There's a process, there's a journey there that they can hear about and hold you up as that, you know, holy grail that they go, oh, I want to be the next Spob.
Listen, it's really easy. You just have to step in the room, don't you? And sometimes it's not actually about being the center of attention. That's the part about our job. It's just about actually being there, isn't it? And the door is open. I know I'm saying all those terrible cliches, but honestly, it really is. It's there for the taking. You'll just find it. Eventually, you'll find it. I found it because I read the stage every day. So you just might have to find a different portal to go to. And I think probably this Cisco is just brilliant. I hope one day you actually do maybe when we're all allowed to gather together. It'd be great if you got everybody that spoke on here and then all the students managed to listen to him. We all got together in a big room.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And it'd be like, let's guess who they are.
I love it. We'll do like some big like film gods party.
Yeah.
You listen really on down. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm all for that. You just need to pass on your information. I never hide anything. Just ask me. And if I don't know, I've always got a friend that will know. So
that's Facebook, Spob, LinkedIn, students, hit her up, ask her all the questions. Do it. Yeah. Do it. Love it. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Ladies and gents, thank you for listening. Send it to your daughters, your husbands, your wives, anyone that wants to get into makeup, anyone that wants to get into that department and hair and just be creative. Send them it. Let them listen. Thank you for listening, and thank you for doing everything that you're doing, ladies and gents, and downloading and sharing. And until we meet again, you lovely people, that is a wrap. So that was a chat with the king or queen in the game. I give it a shout at the end so you all know the name. It's the Film Gods Podcast. The what? The Film God Podcast.